Hey, John, we're having that problem again where I'm hearing everyone except for you on Twitch stream. Figured I'd check to make sure that it was working.
Don't worry, guys. Nobody needs to hear John anyway.
Hey, John, we're having that. Yeah, we don't need to hear the DM on the stream, just the character.
And okay, how about now? Is it coming through now? Give it a couple. No. Oh wait.
I
think I heard you talk.
Did you?
Yeah, I
Give it a couple. I heard give it a couple.
Test. I like testes in my mouth.
I did hear you talk on Twitch.
Okay, wait till it talks about me eating testicles.
You didn't say eat. You just like to
Test.
I didn't realize you were eating them.
Dancing, testicles in your mouth.
That's totally different.
Perfect. Okay, so the thing I was saying that was super serious and super important to our super serious,
not about testicles.
super important game is welcome back to MattQuest. This is that thing that I do when I'm not running a more serious game.
That's right.
Last session, we were joined by Andy, not Tim. And Andy played a fun little goblin, and they went into a city which had a cool name, and I don't recall it. And they delved into weirdness about a rogues guild that was led by a dragon, and some BS about keys that I made up pretty much on the fly. That didn't really sell. It wasn't the best session of D&D I've ever run, but it wasn't half bad, and I guess it entertained most because they all said it was fine after I asked them. They were probably just being nice. That's
no, we were just drunk on power.
Drunk on power. That said,
Yes,
if you did play last session, you do have a single silver key. Just something to have. It'll probably never come up ever again. But you have it. You do have it. That said, the city sucks, so you guys left it and traveled north. You'd heard about a gathering, some sort of festival or party that was being had to the north of the city, and you were interested enough. And when you arrived at that location, you saw that there were a number of different wagons kind of all, bound together. And it seemed that there was quite a few of them kind of encircling this particular patch of field. The grass seems to have been cut low on that field, and not a lot of people are walking out on that part of the field. But outside of that, in the wagons around it, a lot of people are engaging in activities. There's people with these very strange looking gloves that have like very large fingers, specifically the index finger pointing upwards. And there's also a lot of just people. Most of them seem to have some sort of alcoholic beverages. As you guys are walking that way, you see, kind of walking over in that general direction, this...
General direction?
You see this green-colored little gnomish fellow turns and looks back at you.
Hey guys! I finally caught up with you.
Sorry, hold on. I forgot to do the prologue portion of that. So, at the end of the last session you were in, Tim, you kind of just wandered off, right? Well, as you were wandering last session when you weren't here, this very large hand kind of came out of the sky and picked up your character and placed them here just moments before they arrived. So they see you, but they don't know how you've gotten here. All right, go.
I would like to say, Plays with Mice does not really care. Plays with Mice would like to go over to the short grass, smell it a little bit, and then start chewing on it. Okay.
You start walking across the field.
Odd. You got a tummy ache? I've seen swamp creatures eat bog water before when they got sick.
I have to say, I genuinely missed you. That said,
I hope you know Tim hates this character with a fiery passion.
No, I love him. He's so fun.
So, Plays with Mice kind of approaches the wagons around that portion of field. As you start to kind of lead up to it, you kind of see that there's like a patch in the center of the short grass field that seems to have no grass. And it seems to be kind of done in some weird pattern. And there appears to be chalk kind of all about it. Very strange. But there are people who are kind of in between the wagons, and as you kind of trying to move past them, they go, "Halt! No entry until the game begins."
What kind of game is it?
It's the greatest game.
What?
In that age?
So, wait a second, it is the greatest game, so it involves a ball of yarn.
Well, yeah, but that ball of yarn is, they put it in leather.
Ooh,
That is crazy.
it's wearing asterisk checks.
Wait, what?
This is a strange game you got here. I'm here to. I'll watch a round or two.
Eventually, the turtle catches up.
Turtle.
along with Kung Fu.
Oh.
The two of you kind of arrive on the scene there. It does seem that they are talking to these guards, but there are still other people around and about. A lot of people drinking, talking, yelling. There's some people who are singing, cheering, talking. What would you like to do? Let's go Kung Fu.
I'd like to go talk to some people, find out what's going on.
Okay.
You know, maybe get myself a nice pointy finger.
All right. You go into a group of individuals who have these strange gloves on, and they also have drinks, and they look at you and they say, "Hail! So who are you rooting for?"
Playing.
What?
Who's playing?
Are you in the right place? You don't. What do you mean? Explain.
Yes, I'm from out of town, but I came for the game. I'm just not quite sure who the players are.
Well, if you came for the game, how do you know? How do you not know
I
who's
just came
playing?
because there was a game.
Oh, casual. Oh, you're not even a real fan. Yeah, they start kind of wandering. They start kind of wandering
You're
away
a
from you.
loser.
They start kind of wandering away from you.
Aww.
As they do though, you notice that one of them drops their glove and kind of just doesn't seem to notice. There, lying on the ground, is a strange glove that appears to have its fingers kind of set in place with a large index finger, and there's painting on the palm of the hand. It seems to have a weird symbol and the number 1.
I want it. Can I pick it up?
Yeah, you have it now.
Okay. Can somebody tell me what the symbol means?
It kind of looks like 2 lines crossed by 2 lines. Make a religion check.
No, you.
You don't
Great
know.
answer, Rebecca.
I sometimes forget myself. Apologies, but you don't seem to know quite what that happens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. Master Crumb, you kind of are wandering over to the scene on Turtleback. Don't ride turtles; those are people. Arrives on the scene on Turtleback. The turtle kind of just stops, and the grass outside of the wagon train blockage is quite nice, and he kind of just, tired, flops down on his shell, kind of puts his legs in, and then just starts kind of munching on the grass. What would you like to do?
Pretty sure I'm just gonna stay sitting on top of him, just like watching from the outside.
Okay. A couple of guys kind of walk over and go, "Hey man, you must be a really big fan of the turtles." That is
And of turtles, you say?
a sick mascot. That is awesome. Do you mind if we stand around here and drink with you and your turtle?
Only if you give Master Crumb and Turtle drink too.
Yeah, we're real hard shells. And as you kind of look at them, you notice that they're wearing like turtle shells on their heads, like caps.
Hell yeah.
They start kind of
Let's get shit-faced with these frat bros.
passing around what they've got in bottles, and then this other guy kind of sees you guys and kind of like, "Oh!" and just kind of starts wandering over to you. He's got a wagon, and in his wagon there's just this big, just barrel. And once he gets it over there, he kind of, pops this weird device into it, spigot, and basically starts, pouring out beverages. All right. Master Crumb's
Hell yeah.
to help with. Plays with mice. You're kind of still standing with the guard and looking at the it's really pristine looking grass.
Yes, I look over to Papa Ass,
Uh-huh.
and I'm just sort of like, I just sort of look at him, and blatantly wink and jostle my head like that, and hope that he understands what it is that I'm talking about.
He understands. What do you mean though? I don't understand as a DM.
I see his wink, and I cast a message and whisper really quiet like, "So, we gotta do the health inspector gig again?"
Yes, that is what I was meaning. I want to get onto that grass.
Okay, follow my lead. And I get up off the ground, and I
Okay.
waddle over to the guard. I'm like, "Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
I forgot myself. I get a little confused sometimes. But me and Agent plays with mice here. We have to
Hello.
come and inspect the athletes. See? And I cast minor illusion to hold up my badge. We're from Illinois.
One
Yes,
of
and I'm here to inspect the grass.
one of
The grass.
the guard that you're talking to
The
directly.
grass.
He kind of looks over at him. He says, "It's always a gnome, isn't it?" And the other one goes, "Yep, go ahead and take a look and make sure everything's up to par." And
All
they
right. Let's go, Agent plays with mice.
let you two
Yes,
in.
of course.
The second you kind of step onto the grass, you just feel this sensation to just stop, drop, and expose your belly to the sun.
I would like to do this, yes.
I rolled a wisdom saving throw. You failed.
That is perfectly fine. I'm here to inspect the grass.
You don't
I'm
even.
rolling around in it. I'm just like,
Yeah, you don't even make it more than like 5 feet, and it's literally just, man, this grass feels really warm on my toes, and then zonk, rolling around. And then what are you doing, Papa?
Oh, that was I just follow his lead. I guess he's up to something. He knows something I don't. So I hop on my back and lift up my shirt and go like, so why are we doing this?
The guards kind of look at you and they say, you overhear them say, "Man, things have changed in the agency as of late." The guards kind of allow it though and just stare there confused. As you're kind of sitting there drinking with all of these fans of the sport, you kind of are paying attention to them while drinking, like idly. It's not that you really care, but it's kind of just it's happening around you and you're hearing it being talked about. From what you understand, there's a group known as the Turtles, who hail from Greyport, which is where you guys just came from, and the Dragon Isle Dreams, which apparently is another team. The sport that they appear to be talking about has something to do with some sort of stick that you're overhearing, or some people are referring to it as a bat or a club. But it sounds like a pretty rudimentary game that involves a stick, a ball, and two teams.
Soccer?
No, lacrosse.
No, 2-team stickball.
Oh.
What he
I
said.
know.
Doesn't like good old round, a 2-team stickball.
The guys are kind of talking, and the other thing that you notice is there's several of them that are kind of looking at you, like kind of strangely, like fascinated with you specifically.
Wait, which you?
That would be Master Crumb.
Gotcha.
Great. I just keep drinking every now and then, like acknowledging that they're staring at me, but like just drinking.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Eventually, one from the group that's specifically interested in you says, "Aren't you the new pinch hitter, Mruck? Aren't you supposed to be in the? Aren't you supposed to be with the team? What are you doing out here partying?"
I was not told playing game was on Master Crumb's schedule, but if you like me hit ball with stick, I hit ball with stick.
Master Crumb. Never heard of you, but I heard there's a new guy named Mruck, who kind of looks like, description-wise, looks like what you look like.
Old guy with beard on turtle?
Yeah,
Very odd.
agreed. Obviously easy to catch in a crowd. Well, the turtle part, I mean, obviously it wasn't there, but I assumed, since you're playing for the Turtles, you might...
Ah, yes, they send mascot to travel with all new players.
They buy it.
Like, we won't.
They buy. They go, that makes sense. And they go, well, do you not know where to go? And they say, let me get you a guard, man. And then they start kind of wandering over. Also, by this point, like, you are, it feels like there's something going on up here. Like, I don't know if you've ever been to a, why is my brain not working? The party before a freaking game. I'm not a jock.
It's called
Tailgate
a
party. That's the one. Ha! And he has a turtle, and the turtle has a tail.
Yeah, so it's a turtle.
Ah.
I don't know. I'm just trying to make jokes out of what we got here. Okay, the material's weird. It's not my fault. I just make the material. They get a guard who starts leading you over in that general direction. But it does seem like you're being separated from the rest of your party. That said, Kung Fu, you do see that he kind of had a little, party going on, which you might have been kind of on the outskirts of, but at this point now he's being removed. What would you like to do?
Ooh, I split between two things.
There is that grass that seems to be just perfectly roll aroundable in.
Yeah, well, like I want to like follow Master Crumb and like tell him I'm his agent or something, manager.
Nobody really asks you any questions, but if you do kind of like start walking around with them, they just don't really mind. They figure that it's like some kind of groupie or something. They don't know.
Are we gonna walk past?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
Plays with mice. You notice a butterfly. Not too far from where you're at, and it is really interesting in that it's very brightly colored.
I feel like you are getting to know Plays with Mice a little too well. I would like to chase the butterfly.
Okay. It seems to just go. It seems to just go out towards the middle of the field. Yeah, it just goes.
I will start running after it, and in an attempt to try to stay health inspectory, I will say, we need to get this bug off. It is highly diseased and could kill the players.
Wait, hold on. That's believable. They kind of go, that makes sense. That makes sense. What do you do in response, Puppet?
See, there's a method to our madness. If we did not sunbathe, we would not have seen the poisonous butterfly. Anyway, I'm gonna go check on the players now. Which way are they?
They point towards the so you can kind of see that the pattern on the ground has kind of a diamond shape to it, and there are these strange bags that have been set out at the corners of the diamond pattern that's been drawn into the grass. Behind the weirdest point of the diamond, you notice that there appear to be two very large covered wagons that have been kind of knocked off their wheels and stationed, they look like barracks almost.
I head over to the closer one.
Okay. As you're approaching, you just kind of go towards the closer one, not really knowing which one that might be. Okay. And then the two of
I
you
know who these people are.
okay, and you see that Plays with Mice is quite distracted, despite his best efforts. The butterfly
What
seems
else
to
is
be
Plays with Mice?
the butterfly seems to be eluding him quite a bit. That said, the two of you, you guys are led into this strange wagon, and kind of at the top of the wagon, you see a symbol that's been kind of painted on a large series of boards, and it's a turtle shell. You're led inside, and the second you are led inside, a lot of the individuals inside kind of freak out because there's a girl there. they start kind of covering up or quickly adjusting themselves. But other than that, it seems to smell of athletes. And a guy kind of walks over and he says, "Are you the pinch hitter, Mruck?"
Me?
Oh, you're
No,
not.
not me.
You're not there. It's these.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nod stupidly.
All right. Well, get in uniform, and that's a sweet turtle. All right.
Thank you.
Get in uniform. And they kind of lead you over to the wagon. And they say, "Who's that?"
She helped me change.
They do shits differently outside of the city, I guess. That's fine. You walk in, and you do find that there is this weird kind of metal box, that does have the name, Mruck. It's exactly your name, but spelled backwards. Convenient. It seems to be open, and inside there is a pristine, light green and white uniform.
Great. I guess I'll throw it on.
All right. Okay. While that's happening, a lot of people are avoiding you, Kung Fu. They don't seem to want to be near or around you, and you hear a couple of them say, "It's bad luck to have a girl in the locker room before we go on." And then you do notice that one guy just outright seems to kind of lose it and leaves. He does not have his uniform on. He's kind of halfway through getting undressed and just goes. He just seems to leave.
Unfortunately, he started with his pants.
His uniform is just kind of sitting there, hanging out.
Can I put on his uniform?
Yeah. You kind of look it over, and when you pick it up and look at the name, it says Ufnuk. as his name, and he is number 12.
Okay.
And you start putting his uniform on. Let's see.
Yes, my plan is working.
So as you're doing it, you notice that he is slightly smaller. I mean, because Kung Fu is a bit, broader. That was not an intentional pun. I am not a sexist, I swear. But it's a bit broader than this guy seemed to be. That guy looks like he might have been an outfielder, not so much like a heavy hitter. And as you kind of start getting into the attire, you notice that the sleeves kind of feel very restrictive. The pants are fine, but the sleeves are very restrictive.
So just rip off the sleeves.
All right.
So I'll take them off.
Okay.
Sun's out, guns out, baby.
Sounds out good. Okay. While that's happening, the two of you, Plays with Mice and Popovic. Popovic, you're by yourself. Again, like I said, it does look like Plays with Mice is pretty much done for. But you make it into, the two. You see the one that's closest to you, and the symbol that it has appears to be a star with a rainbow chasing after it.
I knock on the door.
Okay. The door is kind of just left ajar, and you can kind of hear the sound of people getting ready on the interior.
Wait a second. There's a star with a rainbow following it. Is this Mabel's?
This what? Mavis?
Never mind. Gravity Falls reference.
I don't get the joke. Oh, gravity.
Oh.
Get the joke.
I don't either.
I got it now. I needed a point of reference because my brain's scattered. Anywho, okay. So you go in.
I just proceed in if the door's open.
Okay. You go in, you see a lot of folks, and as you're kind of, looking them over, you notice that there is, different number of individuals here. They said that they were from the Dragon Isles. You do see that there are a couple of the Dragonborn, but it looks like the majority of this team appears to be Drow Elves. Very strange.
Rainbow stars. I'm from Aeronai. I see you got a lot of lizard men and darkies to inspect. All right.
Keep in mind, he's from a swamp.
Apologies to the internet. But holy crap!
I speak without really thinking through my words, invariably insulting others.
Fair enough.
That is my flaw. I mean nothing by it. I'm just stalking.
A lot of them just look at you and you hear one of them say, "What the fuck did you just say?" What the fuck?
That's some lizards and some dark ones.
This guy kind of walks over to you, older fellow. He's wearing some kind of weird tunic with a hood, and it does have the symbol for the team on it. And he kind of walks over to you and says, "We're about to go into a game. There's no inspections that are done at this time traditionally. I apologize."
New procedure, new policy. See, here's my badge, and I'm not losing it.
And he kind of he says to you, "I'm not buying it. I'm gonna have to ask you to leave."
Sir, if you don't let me do my job, I'm gonna have to disqualify the whole team.
Whole place feels darker now. And again, not a reference to your racism. You feel like there's just people kind of towering over you, as it seems like a lot of the players have kind of migrated to stand over you.
Fine. I know. I'll have to report you to the officials, but that's fine. And I leave, and I shut the door behind me, and before I walk away, I cast Arcane Lock on the door.
Before you leave, one of them looks at you. The guy who's talking to you looks at you, and he says, "Yeah, you go ahead and tell." Sorry, what was the name of the official again?
They didn't tell me who was officiating today. They just told me I had to come do inspections at the teams.
So you didn't ask the name of the person who asked you to do that? That's really weird. Bye! And then you leave and lock them in.
Yes.
All right.
Damn great.
I heard it over to the other place.
Serves them right. Oh my
I'm a
god.
slump sage, a time lord. You just gotta show me respect.
I think we just broke some John's will to live.
Oh. It hurts. It hurts so much. It's priceless. Okay, so you come out, and by that time, Plays with Mice has not captured the butterfly, but seems to have become bored with it, and is...
Yes, I would just wander away.
Yep. Do you want to follow after where the gnome went to, but you don't remember where that was, or do you want to just go on about somewhere else?
I think I'm actually going to go up to one of the guards and say, "Excuse me, guards, is there also food areas of recreation around here? Because those need to be inspected too."
All about the wagons there, young one.
Thank you. And I go over to inspect the food. And by inspect, I mean eat. And by the food, I mean the food.
So, you've been to a festival in real life. You've been to like a fair or whatever. And so they've got like a bunch of different like wagons, but the wagons are more kind of like coach-like. And they appear to have like, effectively kitchens built inside of them. And they're serving the food out of like the sides. It doesn't look like you're going to be able to take the food right off of the wagons, from what you can see, unless you're wanting to give that impossible feat a try. But it does look like there's several people who are talking and just nonsense that you could easily lift food away from.
No, I am going to go over to one of the wagons and say, "Hello, I am the health inspector, and I am here to make sure that all of the food is not poisoned."
Okay. One of them kind of reaches down into the wagon and then comes back up with this weird device and then just starts spraying water in your face and says, "Shoo! Shoo!"
And I just, I hiss like that and I just run away. And I try to get on one of the other carts.
Strangely enough, they have the same device.
I'm going to go and find Popovich because I need him to help with the illusion thing.
You do see that there is one wagon that's like, as you're kind of walking away from the avalanche of water on your face and snout, the face. You do see that there's this wagon that seems to be getting the most traffic. And it seems to be where most of the beer is coming from.
Interesting. Is there other things besides the beer that is coming from there?
They are also selling food, yes. It does look like the food that they're serving, it appears to be these very strange tubes of meat in bread, with lots of weird toppings on the meat tubes.
Are there any of these things that I will call... What is a good word? People who are interested in the sports thing that are distracted or intoxicated that I could possibly steal a bunch of their food from?
Without even thinking about it, you managed to like go to this table where people are talking and yammering on and get like 4 of these containers with all different assortments of toppings and whatnot. There's like this.
I'm going to try these strange meat tubes.
The meat's insanely good, well spiced, delicious. The toppings, you're not terribly sure about the green one. It's a little sweet for your tastes. But there is this red topping and this yellow topping that seem to just complement the tube of meat. Which is weird every time I say it.
I think I particularly like the red one.
Very good. All right. Pop, when you get ousted and lock the team in, do you in particular have any intention of going anywhere in specific?
I go to the other locker room.
Okay. As you're heading over there, you hear a voice kind of come out across the field. Sounds like someone's using some form of thaumaturgy. It says, Take your seats and prepare. We'll be starting the game in 1 hour's time. 1 hour's time. 1 hour's time. Get your food, take your seats. We'll be starting the game in 1 hour's time. Okay. As you're kind of walking over to it, you see a guard kind of walk over and stop, kind of look at you. And then you kind of like, notice him and kind of realize that there are more guards going to the other one.
The other locker room that I'm heading to myself?
Yeah. Well, both locker rooms now have guards standing outside of them, yeah.
Ah, well, I better hurry up my inspection.
One of them looks at you and says, "Halt, sorry, no fans are allowed into the locker rooms at this time. It's a very important time." He
My illusion, my badge.
he kind of shakes his head. "Sorry, nope. The chief said not to let anyone in. Your inspection's going to have to wait until. Unfortunately, it should have happened already. I don't know why you're this late. An hour."
Well, the other team was being very rude and wouldn't let and delayed me in all sorts of ways.
An hour before the coin flip, and you're trying to do an inspection. You're not going to be able to detect anything that these people would be doing that would be illegal. You don't even know how to do your job. And the other guy says, "I told you, man, earlier. They always send a gnome out to do these things. They don't understand how this stuff works. You fucking gnome."
I haven't had a good one in a while.
No. I wanted to say nerd.
If ever.
But I was replacing with gnome. I wasn't. Damn it. I can't believe this. It's him. Wait, no, him. Not me.
Him?
I'm trying to figure out.
On my screen, he's right there.
I'm trying to figure out the pointing directions, and every time I'm like, I'm going to use my left hand to point to the right, because that's the way I'm looking at him. Oh shit, I'm pointing at her now.
And now you're pointing at me.
I don't know what's happening.
On my screen.
Oh,
The
that's
two guards tell you,
that way.
sorry, that's not the one. That you can't come in. You are bad at your job, and we're gonna have to apologize. We're not gonna make considerations for you being bad at your job. It doesn't seem like
That's okay. I'm pretty bad, I admit.
It's-
Can I go inspect the food now, though? Make sure that's not poisoned?
they gesture off. You can go do what you like.
All right, have a good day.
Fair enough. As you're kind of wandering away, you hear this loud boom sound. If you kind of turn and look back, you see this cloud of kind of just smoke billowing off of where the door that you arcane locked was. You see that the door and the frame around it have been removed with a lot of force, and the wagon's front end has basically been removed. This very large wagon's front end has been removed, and they start talking to the guards. What are you doing in response? Again, you can see them. The presumption from that would be that
Are the guards looking at me?
they look like they might start looking around after they start getting asked questions. I'm asking you what you're doing.
If it looks like they turned around to see where the boom came from, I cast invisibility.
All right. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and roll. So they watch you. They see you, and you're like, oh! Like that. And they start moving in your direction. What would you like to do in response?
Stand very still.
I'm going to I'm gonna start waddling away, and then I'm gonna waddle 15 feet away from the guards. Then I'm going to temporal shift 15 feet to the right, and then I'm gonna waddle the last 10 feet in the right direction.
They see this blue jaunt of energy, because that's not invisible, just appear out of nowhere, and they go, huh? And then they kind of go, ooh, and then they rush off. One of the guards stays where he was stationed. The other two guards are still at the other place, and they seem to be running off towards where you heard the thaumaturgy come from.
And I continue towards the food.
Meanwhile, Kung Fu, you are told by one of the guys. He starts pointing at this really strange device in your locker, and he says, "You're gonna have to put that on. I mean, it's crazy to go out there without it." And then just walks away. Doesn't even seem to look at you or notice that you were the girl that was in there giving them trouble. But when you look at this weird device, it looks very crotchial.
There's a better word for that.
It looks like a crotch.
It's obviously a hat.
Face mask.
Jock jokes. Gotta love them.
I don't think I can respond to this.
I believe you can. If someone gave you a jock, where would you wear it? I'm kind of tempted to go find like a PNG like file of a jock and just kind of move it on the template so it's like about or maybe up here. I don't know. That's horrible. That's terrible. But anyways, he gestures towards that, and you also see that there are other pads in there that appear to go like on the shins and the knees and other spots. It's not just crotchial. Fair enough. Mruk, you have no problems applying the pads. It seems like second nature. Because all guys do sports. You have no idea what some of them are. So, or you do. And what would you like? Is there anything you want to do in the internum? Are you looking up for a better word for crotchal?
Yep. Can't find one. But that's okay.
Crotch synonyms.
I'd like to say this is obviously just the greatest D&D stream ever.
It is so magical. Like and subscribe. Follow me on
Everything.
all of the things. No one's watching this. Oh.
I was a little late to posting it on
Hey,
Facebook.
that's not
Sorry
true.
about
I'm
that.
watching it on my phone.
Fair enough. Fair
I'm
enough.
watching it.
All right, but you're also playing in it. Oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's the best part of watching it. We
Yeah.
recognize what's going to happen.
Anyway, so point of order. You guys get fully complimented in gear, and the others look like they're getting ready to head out of the wagon. Is there anything that you guys want to do while you're in there, in particular, to kind of like anything? Just freeboard. Go ahead.
Is there any other equipment that I'm missing in like this locker that I should be grabbing?
In your locker, no. You kind of look around in it. You find something strange, kind of like there's a shelf at the top, and kind of up underneath it, like inside of a spot, you kind of like are looking around, and you kind of pop out this weird box. And when you open up the box, there appears to be some sort of chalky powder in it. Yeah.
I'm gonna take it just in case.
Okay. It also looks. Oh, sorry.
Also, I just want to say now that I have that, I want to keep an eye out for anyone else that I see that uses anything like chalky.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
You see a couple of guys kind of like, they look like they're chalking up their hands.
Makes sense.
And then there's some that are chalking up the handles of their sticks. Which sounds dirty. Sounds
Pocket it. I think I understand what it's for.
Okay.
Just they keep calling me a pinch hitter, and I'm guessing my job is not to pinch all these guys before they go hit the ball. So
No, your job is obviously to break their knees.
But it'd be more fun to pinch them, wouldn't it?
right, like I'm the guy who gives them a little wake up. Woo! It's your whole job on the team, bro, is just pinch their asses as they're walking out there, and they're like, ooh, now I can hit it. Now
one of
what would
these.
they do? They had to pay a turtle to walk all the way out to get me.
The
Turtles, they're not cheap.
plays with my you are still at the food vendor and you hear the call for you know, you've got all the food and you're eating it, and while you're doing that you hear the call for take your seats, and it looks like most people are just kind of wandering over to the wagons and kind of looking at them. On the other side of all these wagons there appear to be like these weird steps, wooden planks, these just long wooden planks.
I would like to go over and hide underneath these wooden planks.
Okay.
And as people are sitting down, I would like to take their food.
When you get down there, you hear a startled like gasp, and you see that there's two young people, a boy and a girl, that seem to be smashing their faces together for some reason. I don't mean young like children. I mean like, you know, young adult.
Right. I would like to go over to them and just get ridiculously close.
we already
right
probably
into their face.
got flash racism. I don't want to do like some weird child nonsense.
Oh no, I'm just sort of like I'm trying to figure out if there's something on their face that they're that they're
Sure.
trying to.
They freak out, and when you get over to them and start like inspecting their faces, you notice that there's a bit of saliva like there. I mean, I guess they don't let you stay there for very long because they run.
That was very strange. I'm going to go back to my plan of going over and seeing if I can steal possibly anything either shiny or food related out from the steps while I'm underneath.
All right, you spend the next, hour as everybody's getting seated, just taking people's coin purses and taking the food that they leave on the things. It gets to a point where you actually have like a system where you're like, oh, and snatch, and then run over to the pile and drop it in, and and then snatch, and then put it in the pile. And so there's like, and then you're like, oh, this is food, and this is shiny. And so like once you finally got it down, like where you're like, oh, this is a lot. You see this big pile of coin and jewelry, which is shiny, and it's kind of like shortly after you drop it, you're like, eh. But the food seems really good, and most of them are covered with the red sauce.
I would eat the food, and I would be looking through and seeing if there's anything particularly interesting in the shiny things that I found.
Sure.
And if there isn't, I would simply just chuck stuff into my bag.
Mute it. You be mute.
I think you're right.
Okay.
Oh, man, I want to hear him answer in character.
Hello? How may I help you?
He took the headset off. He said, I can't deal with your shenanigans. But yeah, you look at the coins and all of the stuff, and there's nothing in particular that like stands out. But jewelry, it's mostly just like loose chains and some rings and what have you. The coin count, after like looking it over for a bit, you realize you've got about 40 gold pieces, about 70 silver, and about 120 copper. You've been working on this for about a half an hour, and you're really not caring. Like it's free. And the jewelry is probably worth another 100 on top of that, but it's mostly just bronze and brass and shiny, but not like really expensive materials. And there's a plus 10 Holy Avenger. No, I'm kidding.
I will need to think about what to do with this while I'm sitting here eating the tube meat.
Fair. All right. I would go to Pahovic, but he's invisible. So he doesn't exist to me right now. The two of you are kind of, you've gotten ready. You don't really know what you're going to be doing, but everybody seems to be getting ready to go out, and they're all kind of standing in a line. And the guy who, kind of asked you who you were at the beginning kind of walks over. He says, all right, everybody, this is what dreams are made of. And I don't mean dreams like those schmucks across the way. I'm talking about real dreams. Dreams of being a hero. There's people out there who come out to see you guys, see you be real heroes to them, and you enjoy the sport as much as they do, but they need you more than you need them. They need you to be a hero for them today. And the way you're going to do that is by winning this game that's super important for some reason. It's really, really important. And this is a really dramatic moment right now that we're having, and you guys are feeling it, and it's so dramatic, and the music's probably like, getting like really intense right now, and you're feeling it, and it's so good.
And we are the Titans!
Some other random thing that's probably the title of this episode. What was the title of this episode? I forget.
I don't know.
Running in the 90s. I saw a lot of sports movies when I was young. Shit. And they all start cheering and like getting really pumped about it.
Oh yeah, let's go be gym class heroes.
Gym class heroes. And they seem to be walking out. They don't walk too far because they get to a point where there's just like a bench, sitting off to the side of this weird diamond, and they all sit down on the bench because
How anticlimactic.
Sports.
have multiple rooms that are just staging areas for a game. I don't get it, but a lot of people really like it, so I mean it's gotta be cool. That said, it looks like a bunch of burly looking dudes are on the other side, and their uniforms are kind of like more colorful, but it's kind of a darker color with a symbol on the chest, a star with a rainbow pattern, and they're all wearing caps, and so is everybody on your team. They're all wearing caps. And there appears to be this one helmet that's at one end of the bench, and then there's just a stack of those sticks just hanging out over there too. Yeah, and you hear people cheering in the crowd. There really isn't like this huge to-do when the teams come out that you hear, but plays with Mice and Popovic, you'd hear them announce the teams, not really announcing the players, but just announce the teams as they take the field. Kung Fu and Master Crumb, you guys sit with these guys. The guy who's sitting next to you, Kung Fu, has not talked to you at all, but he keeps on looking at you like, what the fuck's happening? Like, kind of look. The guy who's next to you, like Master Crumb, on one side is the guy who's staring at Kung Fu, and then on the other side it's this guy who cannot stop talking. But you really haven't been paying attention to him. He's just saying words, right? He's just rambling on. And there really isn't any substance. Like, even if you were to just pay attention to him, you really don't think, like, it's so vapid, you're pretty sure.
And so then I met Don Knotts, and Don Knotts was a real nice guy. He was like, he was the most amazing person. He loved cheese puffs. And cheese puffs were his favorite food.
That's the other thing too. He is really talking about himself a lot, and it's really not terribly interesting. It's mostly stuff about how he was in Greyport and blah blah blah. But none of it seems interesting at all. It's really just boring dialogue that doesn't matter, and that's why it's so funny that we covered it for at least 2 minutes. I get the joke. Popovic, we didn't really get to you. You're invisible while all this is happening. Well, actually, you probably would have became visible before then. But what would you like to do during your invisibility stint and then after? You said you were going to go check out the food?
I start eating food.
Okay. You have to
Because
pay...
it doesn't break invisibility.
Oh, if you're taking it from people...
No, just off the table.
Okay. A lot of people start noticing food floating and then vanishing as it becomes a part of your character. And a couple of them start yelling out to the guards. And you see this guy coming around, and he's that same guy who was chasing you before. And you hear him say, under his breath, "Fucking gnomes."
I see him just from my visibility say, "Oh, sorry. This is, well..."
They start moving in on, like, triangulating the sound and, like, moving towards it.
When I notice that they're trying to find me to potentially capture me, I just hide under the table and don't say anything.
Okay. As you kind of sit there and just quiet, you see that they get out, like, one of the guys kind of, like, pulls out a bag and pulls out this net, this gnome-sized net, and they start kind of moving around. And I mean, like, I don't mean like a net like a gladiator would have or that you'd use to catch, I mean like a bug catcher's net. Yeah, exactly. Funk net. But you sit there quietly, and they just kind of move around in controls. And the thing you start noticing is, like, they start kind of increasing in number, but the thing that starts increasing more is the number of those nets. And it seems like every guard ends up having one, and they're moving around that specific vicinity with intent of capturing a gnome.
Along comes a poisonous butterfly.
It gets you, and you die. No. What you do notice besides that, though, is that you see Plays with Mice underneath the stands not too far from where you're at, and he has two very large piles, one of coin and one of food. And he's just hanging out in the shadows underneath the stands by himself. You've seen him content, like just moments ago when he was in the sun, rolling his belly up to the sunlight. But this, he appears like focused content, like, yes. Ooh.
I try to make my way over to Plays with Mice.
All right. Just as you start to make your way out, your spell fades out.
Oh,
Thunk, and
Temporal shift!
you're surrounded by net. Okay. Where are you shifting to? Towards Plays with Mice or somewhere else?
Towards Plays with Mice.
This large blue trail of energy appears into your vicinity, Plays with Mice, and you see the gnome standing there with you. You also hear the sounds of guards, and when you look over in that direction, they all have nets that are doing this.
I just look at Pavlovich and I'm like, would you like a meat tube? They are quite delicious.
Cover's blown. We gotta go. Hoot nanny, hoot nanny, hoot nanny.
What are you talking about?
Hoot nanny, it's the code word. We gotta go. They're on to us.
All right. Not quick enough. You hear a clanging, and then you see the net appear around you again. As you are basically caught unawares by one of the guards with the net.
Temporal shift!
Kill more for spell slots. It's fine. Where are you going now? And that would be perfect. Yes, you should. I'm gonna go ahead. I can't. It's. I think it's light. It's like copyright protected. But yeah.
I try to go up into the stands.
Oh. Okay.
And then, if I can, I want to minor illusion myself into someone else.
Minor illusion doesn't work that way.
I make myself look like a bench in the back, or a barrel.
Doesn't really change you. It lets you create a minor
Well, I create
effect.
one around me.
Oh. Okay, well, you appear first, and you're a gnome that appears, and then you see like 3 or 4 people, one lady, 2 burly-looking guys kind of look over at you, and it says, "It must have been that gnome that took my golden food!"
No! I'm familiar now!
Hold on. Plays with Mice. When all of this was happening, were you standing around, or were you getting your stuff and getting out of there?
Probably like at the second insistence of like hootenannies, I probably would have started to at least try to grab some tube meat and run.
Okay.
I don't care about the shiny things. I just want more tube meat.
So what actually happened is before he gets there, the net comes down. Before the net comes down, the guards really get in there. Plays with Mice just gathers up everything perfectly with one sweep of his cloak and kind of catches it into like a bag, and then just starts darting through the like underneath the things like a shadow. Not like Shadow, the character from the West Marches game.
Right.
Like a shadow, just zoom, and is unseen by all. And then Hootenanny finishes. Net, zap. That guy stole our stuff. Gnome. Then you said you put what over yourself? A minor illusion of what?
Well, I don't think I would do that if people were thinking I stole stuff, so I start waddling across the top of the bleachers.
Okay. The guards below you, they are down there, and they start kind of lobbing their nets up at you. And not a single one catches the way they want it to, but one does hit you in the head with the handle of it. Take 4 points of damage. And then you kind of run, and they seem to be on your tail.
Why are you doing this? I'm from Illinois!
And you hear from behind you, that gnome stole our food and coin!
No, I didn't! It wasn't me! My pockets are bulgy enough to steal your stuff?
You hear back, "You're a gnome. You probably put it in your pot of gold at the end of the rainbow." That's the
No,
wrong.
that's the star rainbows. They got the rainbow.
That's the
I'm from
wrong.
Swamp.
That's the wrong short mythical creature. Ah. Anywho, as you continue to be chased by the fuzz, you hear the announcer now yell out, "The game will be delayed as there seems to be a distraction over on the east side of the field. If anyone would like to assist, feel free to snatch up that gnome."
At this point, I will use my final, because I've just been using first level spell slots for the teleports.
Yeah.
I'll use my final second level spell slot to cast invisibility again and try and run off unnoticed. And I just run away and like move off for a while so I can rest for a bit.
As the yakety sax continues to play, you do stop, like after casting the spell while running and becoming invisible during a movement, and then stop. Everybody runs past you, and then you turn around the other way.
Wonderful.
Sick trick, bro.
I need to go rest.
It's long rest time. Hope we don't get into a really big, serious, dramatic end boss battle.
I would also like to say, John, after I have run away from the guards, I'm going to go on top of the bleachers and sit down with all of my things and just start eating tube meat.
You kind of actually notice that there's this bench not too far from where you kind of ran to. That looks like it has an empty spot at the end of it, and from what you can tell, it looks like right there near the end of it is that kung fu lady that you know.
Oh, I will sit there and I will offer tube meat.
Okay. You walk over and you sit down on the bench. No one seems to notice or care, and yeah, you get offered food.
Okay, I totally take the tube meat. I also have toy for plays with mice.
Okay.
I want to put on the glove and like start batting the finger around his face.
Sure. The guy sitting next to you finally just kind of like loses it. It says, "You're not supposed to be here."
That's who.
He says to you. He says, not to plays with mice, to kung fu. "You're not supposed to be here."
Says who? My name is on this.
Ufnuk, where did Ufnuk go? You're not Ufnuk.
I am Ufnuk.
He shakes
This
his
is
head.
Ufnuk.
He shakes his head and he just takes his cap off, pulls his jersey off. He says, "Forget this. This has been an unprofessional lot, the whole thing." And he just walks away. And since the guy next to him is not a real player, he's not going to try and simmer him down because unless you want to, Zach. Do you want to try and talk him down and to keep playing?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, he leaves. His hat and his jersey are just sitting there on the bleacher, and he just walks away.
Plays with mice.
Would Kitty
I will
like
take
to
his hat
play
and his
ball?
jersey.
All right.
You should
Hold on.
put them on.
So his name, as you look at the back, is Isim Hitiwislialp. And you kind of, it's cool. And just a heads up, that's spelled ECIMHTIWSYALP. I hope everyone's getting the joke. It's subtle, but I hope you're getting the joke. I don't want to feel like
No, I have no idea what is going on. I am just sitting here with tube meat with this lovely
Wouldn't that
jacket
make the
thing on.
back of the jersey say Merc, not Mruck?
Yeah, no. However it's spelled, whatever I said was wrong. If it's wrong,
Cool.
yeah,
I get what's going on. It's
Okay.
backwards. It
Right.
plays with mice backwards.
right.
Yeah.
I don't. Sometimes when I tell a joke, like my wife doesn't get it, although she probably just thinks it's really dumb because my jokes aren't funny.
All right, let us
That's
find
what-
Civipap and kill him.
I literally just start looking at some of the jerseys and I see one. I don't know how to. I don't know if I'm smart enough to know how to read though.
The guy who will not shut
You
up.
see a bat boy way down in the
No,
farm.
no. The guy who will
An
not.
11-year-old child.
The guy who is
About
sitting.
the size of a gnome.
The guy who is sitting next to you, who will not shut up. That guy's last name is Sapinic. And he's still going on. Yeah.
So this is when we just like punch him in the face and
Wait.
Call
You
for the
told me
gnome.
you said to kill him?
No.
And then you hear the thaumaturgy again. Well, it seems like that gnome has gotten away. If anybody sees him, please make sure to alert the guards. We'll make sure that we get him nice and arrested. And hopefully all your belongings and possibly a reimbursement for your food will be applied to your accounts. All right, well, let's go ahead and get the game started. We've got two wonderful teams, as mentioned, when they enter the field. But let's go ahead and have them take the field. The Dragon Isle Dreams. And then people applaud on one half of the field because that's usually how they go. They segregate by people. They segregate it by the people interests in teams, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes, I guess. I don't know. I've never been to a.
No.
It's not a perfect divide, but most people do choose to sit on the side of their team's dugout.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you're buying tickets at a stadium, you're like, I want to sit on my team's side. But like, if your team's side is sold out because it's a home game and there's only sides on the other side, then
Yeah.
like, fuck it, I'm gonna get tickets where I can get tickets. So most of the time, you'll just see whoever's home team is.
And if you're
most
spread out over the
crowd.
entire thing, you're probably a New York Yankees fan who doesn't actually care about it, who's just there for the prestige.
I've been to 2 baseball games, and one time it was at Candlestick Park, but it was after it was called Candlestick Park, and they called it 3Com, and then they named it some other stupid tech company and that buys the. You know what? This stadium, which isn't a stadium, it's just out in the middle of nowhere. It's going to be called Salvatore Field, because yeah, that sounds good, right? I mean, that's good. It goes with the joke. I don't know how it works, but it's fine, right? But I hate how they do that about stadiums. It's so stupid. Like, it's really annoying. Just call it what it was traditionally instead of putting your stupid name on it, because most people who knew it by its original name are going to call it that anyways. Back to what my point was, though, is I've had 2 games, and the first one I don't remember at all, but that they had garlic fries. That shit was dope. I would go back to a baseball game just for those garlic fries. That was an option. Anywho, the Dreams take the field, so that would mean that the Turtles are going to be the ones at bat first.
Correct.
Yep, and as you can see, it looks like there's quite a bit of a roster there for up to you guys, as you have taken the last 3 slots on the field. Plays with Mice. They tell you to put that hat on. Do you put it on?
I do put it on, however, I put it on backwards.
Okay. The thing that you notice is that it covers up your ears.
I do not like this.
Your
Can we
ears.
I
cut
put it
holes?
on my tail.
Kung Fu, what was that suggestion?
Can we cut holes for his ears?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna cut holes for his ears and then give it back to him.
And as I said, I want it on backwards.
Okay. So it seems like the holes placement, you could pull it, you could put it either way, except sideways. But you put the hat on backwards. You look fly.
So it looks like I am, say, something from like the 90's on a scale of 0 to 100.
I would have to say
90?
yes. Yeah, that would be accurate. Good deal. A way to keep it in theme. All right. That said, I keep doing that. It's annoying. Anything special about your guys' costumes, Zach and Rebecca? Anything you guys want to do to stand out like a cool cat?
Where's my turtle?
Yeah, you see it has basically been taken. Would be the best way to put it. And you see that it's currently like not too far from where you're sitting on the stands. It has a very large box on its back, which people keep reaching into and pulling out bottles of beer, covered with like wetness. But you see that it keeps on walking away from them. But you also see that it's looking right at you, and it seems to have been trying to get to you for you are not sure how long. And you're pretty sure that it'll probably be another hour before it does finally make it to you, even though it's only like 20 feet away.
Keep trying, Victor. You'll make it.
He kind of goes, just turtle face and nod. All right. Yeah, the large ice chest on his back that seemed to have slowed his speed. Pavik, you stealthily make your way to where you last saw Plays with Mice. And then you stealthily continue to make your way to where you think he might have gone. And when you kind of come to the end of the run, not seeing him in the underneath the stands, you see that Kung Fu and Master Crumb and also Plays with Mice are all sitting with the team's jerseys on.
I go over to them without saying a word and sit down and rest.
Okay. There's enough space since that guy left.
I'm trying to take a short rest.
Okay.
I'm a little winded from all that running.
All right. They start doing some announcement, and they say, first up to hit for the game today will be, that'll be Nathaniel Balian. He comes to us from the great city of Greyport. He's traditionally a switch hitter. He deals with a lot of weird clapping, strangely, as pets are being aggravating. But he should do a good one. Let's see what he does. And pitcher, we've got a fellow from the lands of the rising sun. One Kojima Toshimo. Let's see how they do. That's right, Bob. Yeah, he came from the that area. Well, this sport seems to be very popular for some reason. Yeah, very popular. The ball gets thrown, and you see the guy with the stick, this Nathaniel Balian guy, swing at it and miss. And another guy catch. This game doesn't really do well with the explanatory. Like, could you imagine? Like, I don't know. I've listened to it on radio. They're much better at it than this. Should have done more research. Anyways, he swings and he misses. The ball is thrown back, and then it's thrown again. He swings and he misses again. The ball is thrown back. He swings and he misses once again. He then appears upset and walks back over to the benches, but he seems to be walking to the far end of the benches to sit next to you guys.
Oh. Hello.
Everybody else, besides you guys, the ones to your right, kind of move away from you. And he says, all right, scoot down, guys. Kind of looks at, I know you're new, but go ahead and scoot down.
Like, look at each other and scoot down.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay.
Lace like just stares at him.
Okay, Pulse plays with mice.
All right.
Hello, Scanner.
I think one of them bumped into me.
That's his place with mice.
It does look like Matt turned into a cat.
Wait, he wasn't a cat before?
It looked like he just died. Kitty grow bored of game.
There's something on the floor that's interesting him. Anyways, after what seems like forever, probably a good 25, 30 minutes of just, the occasional cracking sound as the ball's being hit, some things happen. Does anybody have any questions about the current state of the game as the lineup finally comes to a point where the next in line would be Plays with Mice?
Wait, isn't the
Yeah, I
next
thought he
in
was-
line Crumb?
No, because you took the guy who was.
The guy
Oh no, yeah, you're right.
between Crumb and
You're right. It would be Crumb. So, does anybody have anything that they want to, look at, inspect, do anything, or are you just letting it kind of time progress to a point where it's Crumb next up?
I am just eating tube meat this entire time of what I have left.
Okay.
Occasionally, I'm gonna wave the glove at his face.
Okay.
I've been watching this long enough to kind of understand what's about to happen, right?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, if you were paying attention on, but yeah. So you've actually been you've been laser focused for some reason. And so what you've noticed is that the guy that just walked away from you, the guy whose name is Popovic spelled backwards, he just hit a ball, and basically there are two of your compatriots who are currently on the field. One of them is standing at the rightmost point on the diamond from your position. The other one is standing on the northernmost point of the diamond from your position. And they basically have been hitting the ball and running around in the circuit. One guy has gotten all the way through, so you have 1 point according to this large board, and basically what the guy has been thaumaturging.
Cool.
So it's 1-0, and you're up. And you would know that you've also been put to the point where, like, they said you're going to be hitting next.
Cool. I still have that box of chalk that I found in the locker, so I'm gonna like throw some on my hands enough so that there's like a little extra to grab a bat or a stick. Sorry.
Okay.
And like just like I saw all the other guys doing before, and like go out to the field and go and try and do the thing.
Okay, and they tell you that you normally would have been a pinch hitter, you wouldn't have actually been fielding or anything, but because a couple of people left because of the weird woman in their locker, you're basically going to have to fill in normal slots. That said, you go out there with a stick and kind of stand in your position, kind of, trying to look like you know what you're doing. And you're impressive enough. You kind of follow format, and you see the guy kind of spit, kind of reel back like he's been doing, and he throws that ball. How would you like to swing at it? Like, with all your might?
No, I'm not a strong guy. My goal, like, I don't know if I've seen anyone else do this, but, like, I'm a fast dude. I'm 40 feet speed, like, which is probably faster than most of these other fucks. So I just want to, like, slap the ball down, if that makes sense, like, straight in front of me, so it just lands between, like, me and the pitcher, if I can try and do that, and then just take off towards that base. I'm just trying to, like, make contact, stop the ball, and, like, keep it close and on the ground.
A bunt?
Yeah, not a bunt if I knew what a bunt was, but instead of like absorbing it and catching it, I'm like karate chopping it down like a samurai because I'm a monk, and that's what I assume I would do. You know what I mean? It's just like plant this thing 3 inches into the ground after I just like use my like dexterity skill essentially to connect with it and drop it in the ground.
Do you let out like a kiai shout when you do it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, and then swing straight down at the ball. You hit it, and when you hit it, it knocks the ball down into the grass. It hits, and then it bounces up into the air, right? And you're just like, drop the bat with the cling, and then you dart, and you're just. Are you going to use any features or anything? Like step of the wind?
I don't think I do. How far is the distance to the first like point?
90 feet.
Yeah, so I can do that by using my action to dash and get there in 6 seconds. I don't know if that's fast enough or not, based on what I've been seeing. If it looks like they're catching the ball, does that make sense? Like, I want to keep awareness, and if I need to kick it up a notch, I can kick it up a notch with a key point. I got plenty of those to burn.
What's your speed normally?
Normally it's 40 feet.
Okay.
So if I use my action to dash, I can up it to 80. But I want to keep an eye out, and if I'm like 20 feet in and I need to kick it up to 120 with another like step of the wind key point, I will. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get you. So basically, you're going to try and be aware of the situation and see if you need to run faster than you need to. Okay.
Correct.
All right. So you aren't really you're kind of looking and you're focusing on it, but you're not sure like perception-wise how fast the ball is going to travel once it's caught. So the ball is caught. And then the second he catches it, he very quickly winds and throws the ball. And this is before you kind of like as your turn's concluding. So you're about 10 feet away from it. And you would know that during the next segment, it's going to go to a point where it's going to be you versus the ball going to the guy there. That said, are you wanting to do anything in particular, Slide, or anything like that once you kind of come into that specific position?
You typically don't slide into first base. You run past.
Yeah, oh, right. You can't slide into first base, but he wouldn't know.
No,
that.
you actually would get thrown out.
Yep.
Okay. But
now how closely have I been watching? Do I just need to get to this point before the ball and I think I'm safe?
Yeah. You've seen.
So I'm not trying to slide or dive or anything. I'm just trying to like get
Get
there, but I want to use my like drunken technique to like dodge him if he tries to tag me with it, if that's something I've seen happen. Do you know what I mean? So I want to like use a dodge if I can not step of the wind, but what's it called when I
Okay.
use a key point to dodge?
I got
as
you.
a
I got you.
action?
Yeah, it's patient defense. So as you're
Thank
kind
you.
of like, you've made it to that point, and you've dashed, and you kind of like, ooh, kind of like focus into a stance. The ball's like coming at it as you're kind of walking into like making that last couple of steps, and he catches the ball. And when he does, he kind of reaches out because he's had to move forward a little bit to get it. Kind of reaches out to kind of touch you, and you're like, ooh, and step onto the plate.
Yeah.
And then you hear this other guy who you've seen kind of doing weird hand gestures go, safe.
Thank you.
All right. Next up was
Gentlemen.
plays with mice, right?
Yes, that is
Yeah.
correct. It is Plays with Mice, who has been paying no attention at all and has no idea what's.
Okay.
So he starts walking out without even grabbing a bat.
All right.
Base loaded. You're gonna fuck this up.
You see this you see this younger gentleman kind of run over to you and says, "Hey, here!" And he's handing you a bat.
Oh, thank you. I would also like to point out I still have a tube of meat in my mouth.
Okay. He left the plate of like foods though, and most of it's been eaten. But as you're kind of inspecting it, Kung Fu, and kind of go, oh yeah, okay. You notice that it's like a series of different small little plates, and one of them appears to have a pie in it.
Hi!
I was hoping this would reoccur.
Yay!
What do you do?
Hi. Sorry, cat in window. Cat in window trying dangerously.
Did you hear about the pie though?
I did. I heard about the pie. I'm gonna eat the pie because it's
Huh.
pie, and I mean it's pie.
Delicious. You see her just eating the pie, Papa Vic, as you're sitting next to her.
So I was paying attention a little bit, but now I'm completely absorbed in pie.
Gotcha. As that's happening, Papa Vic, you feel somebody's hand kind of like grab your shoulder just as you're kind of winding down to the end of your short rest. Kind of grabs your shoulder and says, "Hey," and you look at him, and he's like a guy who is wearing a uniform just like everyone else, and he says, "I'm taking you in," and he kind of grabs at you to wrestle you. What do you try to resist?
No.
Tim? This guy says, he was wearing a uniform just like everyone else. He says, "You're that gnome. I'm taking you in." And he tries to grab you and pick you up.
Wait, it's been an hour since I cast invisibility.
No, it's almost been an hour. It's so close.
But he sees me.
You're not invisible. Invisibility only lasts like a minute.
No, less than an hour.
Does it really?
Greater
Yeah,
invisibility lasts.
Greater invisibility lasts a minute.
Is it
Invisibility lasts an hour.
is it concentration?
Yeah.
Then you can't take a short rest during that.
No, I was using this to have a downtime of not
Oh.
doing anything.
Wait. Okay. Hold on a second. Just to make sure we got it right, because you came up to them and talked to them, and were
No,
busy.
I just went and sat on the bench and didn't do anything.
Yeah, he did not
Oh.
say
Yeah.
anything actually, so we didn't know he was there.
Okay.
He's just sitting on the bench. There's like one weird gap on the bench where
That-
he is.
I would say that about change that. We'll get back to it in a bit. But you're sitting there, kind of just relaxing. Again, concentration would mean that you're not able to take a short rest. You're still concentrating
Okay.
on the spell.
If that was the case, I would look for somewhere to hide in the dugout, if possible.
Okay. There's not really a dugout. It's just kind of a bench.
Okay.
Yes, what is
Can I
it?
hide under the bench?
Yeah. Sure.
What is
Alright.
a crud out?
And let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so same scenario, but new story. As you're resting, about maybe 10 minutes shy of when you'd be able to use Arcane Recovery, this hand kind of comes down on you. It says, "Hey, you're that gnome. I'm taking you in." And he tries to wrestle with
No.
you.
I'm a different gnome.
Is that the gnome you're looking for?
Don't worry about it.
He doesn't buy
You're not
it,
the gnome
but the
you're looking
more prudent matter is he kind of grabs you with both hands, but as he does so, you kind of butter your way, slip your way out, and kind of have a free run to underneath the stands again.
On the field.
Cue up the music.
Yeah.
Okay. as you kind of bolt in there, you notice that the stands at the very entrance point appear to have like a lever that kind of sets them up so that they can kind of maintain their position. And just being master of the technical, you feel like if that lever were hit, it might close the stands.
Oh, Jesus.
That no one can get in?
No. So that anything inside would be crushed.
And that's on the outside.
It's on the outside, yeah.
I'm not going to go in those stands.
All right, but there.
I'm just going to run off into the forest.
Okay, you would know that trying to escape out of the place, you'd probably run into some guards. Places to go.
Run onto the field.
Places to go. It's left field. like this story. Am I right? So.
Oh my gosh.
Besides the stands, there really isn't anywhere much for you to go.
All right, with no options, I start shouting, "Who that is?" I run onto the field, because that's our code word.
They see you, and they watch you run into the stands. You make it through the first section of stands before the other guy, and you see that there is an exactly identical lever on your side for that same section of bleachers. He enters into them, but seems to be kind of having a bit more effort to move through them as he is doing so. And he kind of has to turn and shift and shunt, and you notice that his name on the back of his shirt is, it's the reverse of Popovic. Pat.
Pat. So, do I think that if I hold the lever, it'll kill him or just incapacitate him?
You're not sure. You know it'll do one of those two things.
The answer
Can
is
I run?
Kill
Can I
him.
run
Kill
too
him.
quick? I am Gana good, by the way. I would not kill for no reason.
Okay, hold on. You're focusing on that a bit as he's approaching, and you don't think it'll kill him.
Little did he know.
I pulled a lever.
It quickly comes in, and you hear a very loud squishing sound. And a lot of people kind of falling from above and screaming. It sounds like there's a couple of breaking sounds as well, as some people are falling from higher up at the sudden drop and landing on top of other people. But when you kind of come to and realize what's happened and like, you kind of have this strange impulse. Like, you want to fix what you've done wrong, and you feel like the best way to do that is just to pull that lever back the way it was, set it right back the way it was.
Exactly.
Is that what you do?
I flip the lever to pop out the stands.
You hear more crunching sounds as the people who have landed out in front of the benches are now pushed, and some of them are basically trampled by the bleachers as they're automatically being shunted back out into full extension. You also notice that the guy that was chasing you seems to have been cut into sections. Oddly, this has made his jersey perfectly gnome-sized.
I've got a question. These sections, are they meat tube sized?
No, bigger.
No bigger.
So
How much attention did this draw?
You do.
Did like everyone in the game just like stop, watch
Yes.
the bleachers just kill themselves while hundreds of people fell screaming to their deaths as they opened up on top of them again?
This is shortly after your situation, and you hear the cat's moving over to the thing, and he's got the stick and he's holding it wrong. You hear the thaumaturgy go again. It says, delay in game. We're going to have a delay in game while we check out a malfunction in the bleachers on section da-da-da. If you were damaged or wounded, keep in mind, just hold your position. We have clerics. We're moving to your position.
That's good because Plays with Mice is holding the bat completely the wrong way right now. Like, grabbing it in the middle and it's upside down.
Right.
And he's only using one hand.
Yep.
Because the other one has meat tube.
Yes.
So, Crumb and Kung Fu, you do see that there's a horrible situation that's happened just to your side. And you do notice that Plays with Mice is up next, but there's a delay in game, and he appears to have no idea what's going on. So, what would you two like
In fact,
to...
I got distracted by that butterfly again.
Sorry, Crumb, you're the only one who's going to be able to do anything, because you kind of notice as well that Kung Fu is invested in this pie. This pie tastes familiar.
Mm-hmm.
like, let me make sure I sell that a bit more. This pie tastes familiar. You don't know where he got this pie. You don't know where he got this pie, but you're pretty sure it's orcish in nature. So, Crumb, which direction would you like to go? Would you like to try and help the cat learn how to play baseball? I mean, this game that we're playing. Or would you like to go find out what the hell's happened over here with the gnome that just, you're pretty sure murdered everyone?
With this delay of game, are there other people who are, like, leaving the field, or is everyone kind of just standing in place, like, waiting?
Most people are on the field, like the players are standing in place. It does look like a couple of guards have kind of entered onto the scene. There are a couple of mechanics who are kind of working out the situation with the lever. And then there's a bunch of clerics who are currently paying attention to the people who landed in front of the bleachers. No one seems to know that anyone's inside of the bleachers. And your assumption, based on the way they're acting, is they assume that if anyone was in there, they're not anymore. And they're not investigating it because they don't want to see that.
Okay. Well, is there a game official anywhere near me?
Yeah.
Where I'm standing? Can I try and draw his attention and ask if I can chat with the batter during this delay of game?
Yeah, no problem.
Cool. I wanted him to tell me I can take my foot off the base and go talk to him is basically what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But if he says yes, then I will go and try and explain to the cat the concept of what's about to happen as best as possible.
Hold on a second.
Let's see if I get it.
You recall that the only way that the cat is going to actually get a thing and pay attention to you is if he's so invested, he starts writing it down. Or if it's just if it just happens to be in his book.
Can I get his attention? He's eating the meat stick, so kitty, look here. Look at me.
Yes. What is it that you are wanting?
In your hand. See, can I see meat stick?
This is my meat stick.
Master Crumb like try meat stick.
So crestfallen.
Yeah, he holds it out.
Somewhere in his mind, back when he was like in a litter, he was like some like, you know, mother matronly cat said, "Sharing is caring." Fuck.
Now, kitty, you want meat stick back?
Yes.
That man throws ball. You hit it with stick in hand, and I'm going to take my other hand and like flip the bat around so it's the correct way.
Mm-hmm.
And then once he's holding the bat the correct way, be like, after you hit ball, you come grab meat stick from base. I leave it there. Understood, kitty?
You catch all of it, but being self-aware, relatively self-aware, you know that in a couple of minutes you're just going to lose that information. Like, that is something that you are aware of at this stage. Like, he says, do this, that. You're, like, focusing mostly on, like, you're hearing the echoing of, like, all of those instructions.
Okay.
But they're slowly fading at the beginning, but you're hearing the last stage, which is super important. Get meat stick back.
Right. I would like to say, John, I take out my book, and I write in my book, ball, then run to meat stick. I don't write what I'm supposed to do with the ball. I just write ball, then run to meat stick.
Surprisingly, just that word and drawing a little like image of the ball seems to just implant the game of baseball in your head because I rolled a nat 20. Like, you know exactly.
Get a 1 because I have so many ideas.
You know exactly how this is going to work. You need to crack that ball, run around in a square, and get the meat stick. All right, back to Popovic. You see the bloody remnants of Someone say it because I've already lost it. The reverse of Popovic was
Civipap.
Civipap. What would you like to do? It looks like there's a lot of people who are interested in what's going on outside of your bleachers.
I'm gonna have to mourn and torment myself later over this. And I run over, I grab what's left of his uniform, I press to digitate all the blood off, and I throw it on and run over to the dugout.
They
Fucking lucky you got that spell, huh?
yeah. They don't seem to notice you and are very focused, and you manage to get out at the right time. And then they tell you, they tell you nothing because some of them don't understand why there's a snow. But Kung Fu, you would know that his placement would be right before Master Crumb's. Even though you're invested in the pie, you are aware of where he's supposed to be sitting.
So you missed your turn.
Well,
Turn? What turn? I'm just trying to run from the fudge.
all right.
Your turn to
Well,
run.
the game's going to
I'm
resume.
the only man.
Let's go ahead and let the players retake the field. All right, that means we've got 3 of the turtles on base. We've got Master.
You got Master Merc.
Just Merc on first base, and some other people on the other ones.
I would like to say, John, as I walk up to the plate, I stand there. I lean the bat against my shoulder, and I just point out to the field, Dave. I don't know why I'm doing this, but I do it.
Okay. The
Butterfly?
the ball comes in, and same question I asked Zach for you. Oh, this could be fun. Same question I asked him was, how are you going to try and hit it? Are you just trying to put the bat in front of it and stop it? Are you trying to hit it with all of your might? Are you trying?
I'm going for it. I am going for this fucking thing. Yeah.
You watch as after he points, everyone's kind of like, yeah, woo! And the guy in the commentary says, he's a bit of an unknown. Well, he used to be known, but it seems to be different. But the long name that I can't pronounce, it appears to be a tabaxi now. And he's coming up. Oh, that's a really bold thing. He's pointing to where he intends to hit the ball. We haven't seen things like that happen since we've seen some of the larger players of our time come out onto the field. Oh no. Oh my God, he's done it! And it just smashes the ball, and you just see it coast off in the direction that he pointed, and it just keeps going. It goes for quite some time. And everyone just cheering like crazy on one side of the field. And
I run to first base, I stop there, and I eat meat stick.
You watch as Crumb gets to the second base, you notice that Plays with Mice is no longer there.
Oh, I didn't drop the meat stick on first base. I didn't tell him he was going to get it on the first base. I told him he had to hit the ball and then get it on the base. So I'm holding it up and like, come on, buddy, lay out. And like, I'm just like running like with the meat stick behind me. And he's like 2 hands in front, like chasing around the bases, hopefully trying to get it.
Strangely enough, once you kind of see the meat stick on second base and it start moving along the line, you kind of like look around and you see like there's an easier way to get to it just by running across the field instead of in this weird angle. But as you're thinking that, you kind of look at the lines and you go, if I get on that grass, I'm probably going to pass out. So you carefully move along the chalk line to the bag and continue to follow. As all the runners come in, you guys all come into home. Do you hand him the meat stick back?
Oh yeah. Now he gets it. He earned it. He's a good boy.
That would have been a just so you are aware, that was a grand slam.
Yeah, I don't care. I have meat stick back.
It's 5-0, and then it goes finally to some cheering. And it goes to Matt. It would go to Kung Fu.
And I'm assuming that at some point Kung Fu has to pass by Crumb, so I would like try and stop her and explain what needs to happen in those.
I was paying a little bit of
assuming.
attention.
she hasn't.
She kind of nods her head knowingly, and she says, she says just what she says. I've been paying a little bit of attention. I think I got this. She
Fantastic.
grabs the bat and, moves on out to the field. Is there anything in particular, like, hitting-wise, like your intents? Do you have any plans, or just want to hit it as hard as you can?
Yeah. Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
It's probably a really silly thing. Do I by any chance have my like battle axe with me that I could swing with it?
You probably would have put that in the locker.
Okay.
You saw that a lot of people weren't like armed with weaponry. I'd say that Plays with Mice probably has some knives on him because he didn't take his pants off. He just put a jersey over his clothes. He'd probably still have his gear, but as far as larger weaponry, no.
No, okay. Then just hit it really hard with the bat.
As hard as you can. All right. Oh shit! You guys are doing really well. So the ball comes straight at you, and as you kind of hit it, I'm gonna roll one of these, like I did with him. Oh fuck! All right. So you hit it. It doesn't go high because you're kind of more like tree battle axe swing straight down the middle, right? You hit the ball, and it goes flying straight into the face of the pitcher.
Yes. Dexterity saving throw for the pitcher.
And crit. Okay, so you watch as it literally like embeds itself in his face, and teeth explode out of the sides of his mouth, and he goes flying backwards a good 5 feet, hitting the ground. You guys hear the announcer say, "Well, that's something we haven't seen in a long time. We've got an injury on the field."
That's right, Bob.
Haven't seen this one since. So she gets to her first base position, but then you see several of the clerics running out to help this guy, and then you see a couple of them doing this sign, and then they just carry that guy off on a stretcher.
I think I killed a man.
Looks like they're gonna have to bring out their replacement pitcher. All right, Bill. Let's see how this goes. And I know that the replacement pitcher, his name being right here on this piece of paper that I luckily have, his name is David Norrod, and he isn't as good as their lead pitcher, whose name I've already forgotten because I didn't write it down. I had it written down, but I didn't write down what the name was because I've got a list of just random names. I mean, what? And then he takes the field and pitches. Unfortunately, the next guy up is another one of the generics, and they strike him out. And then they say change of sides. So they
Change up.
change up. Yeah, let's go with that. That sounds good. I don't care. I don't know. They're going to effectively switch sides. So the guy kind of walks over to plays with mice, and he walks over to you and he says, "All right, we'll get him, Tiger. I mean, well, whatever," and hands you a ball and a glove.
That joke, John.
Yeah. It would seem that name who's really long I can't pronounce apparently was a pitcher.
What do I do with this? I just like blatantly ask that to the guy that hands me the ball.
You got to throw it at those guys.
I just throw it at him.
Are you throwing it? Are you throwing it hard with intent to wound or hurt, or are you just throwing it like loosely and vaguely? He said throw it at him.
I swung with the bat hard, so I'm going to throw this hard.
Just the ball at this guy.
All right. So you see the guy kind of digging his foot into the sand, getting himself ready. He's got the bat. He's getting ready, and then Plays with Mice is handing the ball and says, "Just throw it at that guy." And he's like that. And then you see it hit the guy on the side, like unprepared, and you just see him kind of wrench and fall over.
I just look back at the other guy. I do good.
Well, we haven't seen someone take a base like that in a long time. Oh, the clerics are out on the field. Let's see what they're doing. And then you see that they make this gesture again and put him onto another gurney and rush him off the field. Well, looks like the Dragon Isle Dreams weren't expecting such a lethal game. They've already lost 2 of their main players, and at this point, they have no replacement for that player. So they're a man down, technically. So we're going to be moving on with the game. All right. So next batter up. Hopefully they get to take the field before the pitcher throws the ball. Looks like the catcher's holding on to
They
it.
do not.
The
They
catcher.
do not get the chance if I have the ball.
No, you do not have the ball. The catcher's holding on to it just to make sure a situation like that doesn't arise again. And the players are taking the field. Popovic, you are standing there kind of just dumbfoundedly, but everybody else who's in similar jerseys is rushing out on the field. You would actually, Zach, having perceived the game enough, you would know that your position is shortstop. And you would also know that the position for the other two, Popovic was supposed to be at second base, and Ufnuk was supposed to be at third base. So basically, second base, third base, shortstop.
I'll try and direct them to those spots. Doing my best to
Well,
be like,
They're,
here's what's gonna happen.
they're pretty perceptive, and they pay attention to what you're saying, and you kind of point out and say, this is what you're doing, this is what you're doing, and they, if they so choose, would be able to take their positions. It's not like you're herding a cat or something. I look at, I focus on you, Matt.
I do not know what it is you are talking about.
All right.
Master Crumb, the fuzz is looking for me. So if possible, could I just hang out here and hide?
Do you see other men to stand on field? No, you stand on field.
I see 8 of you. Oh, 7, sorry, Kung Fu.
You'll be fine.
I am sexist.
You are standing there, plays with mice, and you just reflexively kind of raise your hand up and catch this ball that's been thrown at you. You're not even paying attention to it. You're like looking at the sand and kind of like, oh, I kind of need to take a shit. And then this ball enters into your hand. It was a kitty litter joke.
I got that part.
Okay.
I'm looking at the ball back.
And all right, play ball. And you see this other guy who's a lot burlier than the last guy who's taking his position, and he's got his bat and he's winding it up. And then you see the guy who told you what to do, the coach or whatever. He's like, just throw the ball across the plate. Throw it.
Do I know what the plate is?
Hold on a second. You kind of like reach into your pouch and pull out your book and look at it, and there's just a picture of a baseball, and it says what you had written, and you kind of nod your head, and you know exactly what the plate is.
Okay, I guess then I will throw the ball across the plate, just like, again, as hard as I can.
Okay. Ooh. All right. So you kind of like let it go, and you feel your claws kind of slip off the edge of it and kind of tear at the spines a bit, which kind of causes the ball to sidewinder a bit. And as it does so, the large guy's kind of like getting ready to swing, and as he does, he kind of leans into it, and it hits him right in the neck, and he just throws the bat. It kind of hits the ground, and he falls to the ground. And 2 in a row. Coach is going to need to talk to him. That kind of attitude is not really respected here in this playful, fun game for respect and blah bullshit. They walk over to the guy, and you see the clerics just shaking their heads at this. Just this. Well, they're 2 men
Massacre.
down. Yeah,
Massacre. This is a massacre. That's 3 people on this team we've killed. They came to play baseball, and they got killed.
They're 2 men down, and we don't
Heard
know.
all of the fans.
We're 2 men down, and we don't know if they're going to be able to continue. All right. Well, it looks like they've got their next hitter up, and this one's a doozy for us. Wolfgar. Yeah, he's heading up to the bat. Looks like he's got his special bat ready to go, and looks like he's prepared. Throwing the ball back to that crazy cat name I can't pronounce, and let's see how it goes. Let's take a look at the field. and it goes back to you. You're kind of standing there, just like confused as to why people are cheering and yelling around you. It's actually kind of annoying, but you're like, well, where should I run? And then you remember baseball, and then you kind of go right, and then they throw the ball back over to you, and without even thinking about it, just reflexively catches it. And you see that this big guy is standing there on the field, like on the at the plate, ready to go. And the coach kind of walks over to you and he says, as he's making his way up to you, do you want to do anything?
Throw the ball at his face.
Damn it, why do you steal my idea? I have, I think, at this point noticed, seeing as I have been to more than one baseball game, that there is this white pouch in front of the pitcher's mound.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to pick that up and start playing with that in my hand and spreading the dust around.
Okay, there's like this plume kind of forming around with the chalk. Kind of,
It is chalk dust, I think, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a bit confusing, but the coach kind of walks over to you waving his hand, and he says, okay, look, I don't know who you are, and I don't know how you got on my team. At first, I thought you were just trying something new, and you were actually my player, but he must have left or something. I don't know who you are. That said, can you
I am pleased with mice.
just simply throw the ball over that plate and not kill one of their players? We get a lot of money if we win this match.
This money, could it be converted into tube meat?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I will do my best.
He starts walking away. He says, see that you do. Kind of starts walking away. As he's doing so, your short rest is completed, Popovic, and he kind of looks over. He's like, looks like he's looking over in your direction, but you feel like your arcane abilities have recovered. What would you like to do?
Get a second level spell back.
Are you casting invisibility? Do you have disguise
I will
self?
sit there and wait for the coach to come over, or the manager to come over to me.
He just kind of looks over at you confused. Like, who the hell is
I
that?
shrug my shoulders and go, eh.
And he kind of shakes his head and just walks away.
I
Alright.
send him a message.
Did you want to tell me anything? You can reply to this message.
Thievery? He says.
Sam Riegel will have words with you, sir.
Emmy award-winning Sam Riegel.
Yes, Emmy award-winning Sam Riegel.
We'll have none of this nonsense. Okay, so he doesn't reply. Plays with mice. It looks like it's pitching time.
I would like to pitch with finesse this time.
And try and not
kill someone.
You throw the ball. It doesn't seem to go very fast as you're kind of trying to, use less power. And you see that guy kind of just lean into it and bam, hits it. The ball goes flying off to left field. Well, whatever third base is, that's left field, right? Is that how that's done? Yeah. So the two of you, so that would be shortstop and third baseman and second baseman. I would say shortstop and third baseman, actually. Do you see the ball kind of go up? It looks like you might be able to kind of maneuver to catch it and then not go all the way out into the field. What would you like to do?
I will yell to him, I've got this, and then try and catch it, and hopefully the gnome stands down smart enough to be like, alrighty, you've got it.
What does the gnome do?
I thought the gnome was still in the dugout.
No, you're on third base.
Oh, I thought I was on second base.
Yeah,
No, wait, who's on third base?
Oh, shit.
I thought I was on third base.
No, who's on first?
I
Yeah, I was on second.
I did this.
Who's on third?
I did this intentionally, and I was hoping. And I want to thank you, Matt. We could have done it. It would have been great. But I think it's a classic, and everyone knows how it goes. Just everybody who's watching, which is no one, just imagine that happened. It was wonderful. So third base is actually Kung Fu. So
Sorry, I meant Kung Fu.
no, it's okay. I intentionally tried to confuse, so it's fine. That said, you say stay, and then you're going for it. So Kung Fu, do you take the heed of don't get it, or do you go for it?
No, I'm just gonna like put my arm out and also just stand there and let him get it. Just like just in case.
All right, since we're ripping off Critical Role, I'm going to go ahead and ask you, Zach, how do you want to do this?
I imagine he's like super cocky at this point because he's like, no, I know what I'm doing. So it's like a neck crack, then looks up and just like, I'm gonna go for a diving catch to be like dramatic because I think I understand if I catch it, I don't need to do anything. Right?
Yeah. You dive out to it very dramatically and get the glove right underneath it and catch the ball.
Fuck yeah.
And he's out. Seems like the first person to survive. It's probably better that he got the ball caught instead of caught the ball. All right, over to you, Bill. Over to you, Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, Bill. Or Bob, which I don't even know which one I am. All right.
They're both Bob. They are both Bob at this point.
That makes a lot of sense now that you say it. I think I named one of them Bill, but it's over now. They're Bobs.
Yep.
Bob and Bob.
Bob and Bob. The Bob and Bob show.
Keep throwing it to Bill, but Bill isn't there. All right, over to you, Bill. And
Bill.
then nobody responds from that point. You just keep throwing it to Bill. There's no Bill, John. Stop throwing it to Bill.
Bill's actually a ghost. Like, he used to be on the show, but he died like a long time ago.
Oh.
Over to you, Bill.
Did Bill get hit by one of the balls?
Yeah, he died of a baseball accident. Seems to be common in this setting.
It's a very brutal game.
It's so brutal. All right, plays with nice. The ball comes back to you, and
Yes.
it looks like another person has taken the field. This guy kind of looks, pretty mean, and as everybody's kind of, taking their spots, he kind of looks at you with a bit of anger, and he says, "I'm coming for you, cat." Grips the bat. He's doing this.
Does he look like the guy from Revenge of the Nerds?
Yeah. Yeah. He does.
Nerds!
No. Gnomes!
I am going to try to throw it as close to him as possible without actually hitting him.
Okay. All right. He kind of leans into it and swings really hard. And as he's swinging, you see that at the end of it, he is releasing the bat and sending it flying straight at you. He releases it in such a fashion that it shoots like an arrow, like a big old baseball bat arrow right at you. That said, you seem to hit him in the face. Now the baseball bat's coming.
The only way.
The baseball bat's coming at you. What would you like to do in response?
I would like to do a Matrix style lean back.
Okay. So you kind of whoa, and it kind of flies right over you. Second base was the gnome, and it was a line attack. Obviously, the baseball bat appears to be coming at you. Would you have been paying attention or not caring? And after that statement, what would you like to do in response to a piece of wood being flung at you?
If they told me where to stand, technically I'm halfway between second and first.
They told you to stand at that base.
Oh.
They did not teach you the game of baseball.
I try to pull out my hand crossbow real fast and force shoot it away from me.
Nice. And you take.
Hold on a second. Bear with me for a moment here.
Miss the bat, so the crossbow bolt hits Matt in the back of the neck. And then you take the baseball bat to the face, which kills you. Everybody's dead on the field.
I said hold on for a second. Hold on. These are great ideas
That's
that
why I
you...
said there are clerics.
These are great ideas that you've given me that I've already thought of. Hold on a second.
You and I tend to fall on the same page a lot.
Okay. All right. So let's see.
And that's how we save the world from the terror of baseball.
All right.
I'm mastering everybody.
Okay. I had to look at the attack roll with the bow shot. Oh. Okay. So this is what happens. The baseball bat gets flung. The cat whoosh ducks underneath it, right? Then it comes flying at the gnome, who is reaching and fumbling for his crossbow, gets it out, and by the time he's gotten it out, the baseball bat is basically within moments, just milliseconds from hitting him. His eyes kind of flash open, and he kind of realizes, oh, this was a really dumb idea. And it hits him in the face, just making his face disappear. He takes 28 points of damage, and
I'm unconscious.
he has the crossbow, and he shoots the crossbow, and it looks like it's about to like shoot straight at the cat's back, but he kind of whips the crossbow at the last second, and the bolt goes flying into like your guys' benches and hits the coach, who then falls over unconscious.
You see two clerics come out of our bench, go.
No. You see two clerics kind of move out to the field and look to the guards and say,
Oh, goddamn.
"Oh, well, it seems that the holy priests are completely out of power and prayer to help any of the wounded people. Seems like they should have been bringing around some scrolls. They didn't know this game was going to be as lethal as it is. Hopefully, those folks can get some respite in the locker rooms." Passing it over to you, Bill. And then you watch as the gnome is taken away, and the coach is taken away. And
Oh, can I run over and spare the dying on the gnome before he gets too far? Because he's like,
he's unconscious. It doesn't look like he's
Okay.
bleeding or anything.
I want to make sure he doesn't fail a bunch of death saves.
That's fine. It doesn't look like it was a killing blow. It looks like it was a knock unconscious blow. But that's fine. You run over and give him a little bit. When they see you do that, they don't see you do that. Is what I meant to say. And then it looks like there's a moment, a delay in game again, as they do that. The thing that you notice the most, though, as you kind of spare the dying and then let him go, is that there's several guards following the cot that the gnome is on.
I think you've been made, Tim.
Yeah. Show Edge Papovic. He had a good run.
The announcer says, "All right, well, this is the first. We're going to see a game continue on. It seems that the Turtles are down 1 player and the Dreams are down 3 players. But their coach isn't willing to quit now that the other coach has been completely removed from the game." Passing it back over to you, Bill. And the other batter for the Dreams comes up to the plate. And the ball is thrown back to you. You aren't really paying attention to it. You're kind of just like, still looking at the chalk and kind of watching it fall to the ground, and then and the ball kind of just hits your tail and back and kind of hits the ground. It doesn't hurt. It was just kind of lobbed. But there it is. It sits in the sand.
I pick it up.
All right. Another batter for the Dreams kind of steps out onto the field, and he kind of like is shaking. But he's got like an eye of determination, but he looks like he's completely scared. Like, people have been knocked so hard unconscious by this game. This isn't how this is supposed to work. Some of the biggest people in our team have been knocked out. I'm so scared right now. Tell me how you want to do this.
I look at the ball, I look at the batter, and I simply say, I am bored with this now. Throw the ball over my shoulder and start walking away.
Okay. Where are you heading?
I am going to go and find more meat too.
Okay. And the coach isn't there to reward you or scold you. Okay. Do you guys let him go?
Sure.
He wasn't really helping.
Okay.
Oh, can I run and pick up the ball and throw it?
You run
Like
over
be
to
the
the.
pitcher?
So
Yeah, I want to be the new pitcher.
it looks like the third baseman's going to replace the pitcher. Looks like the people from outfield are moving in closer to get to the bases, and looks like they're without a left fielder or a center fielder, unless the shortstop's going to move over. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. Looks like they've got their pitcher, and she's winding up her pitch. Passing it over to you, Bill. And what would you like to do? Are you throwing it at the batter? Or are you throwing it across the plate? What are you trying to do?
Across the plate,
Okay.
but full force.
All right. You throw it right across the plate. The catcher catches it, and the batter kind of swings and misses. And the guy behind him goes, strike, and throws it back over to you. You catch it, and are you throwing it back over the plate again? Playing real baseball? And if so, do you want to throw it any specific, like, you want to throw it really fast? Do you want to throw it, like, try and put some spin on it? Do you want to...
Yeah, try and put some spin on it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so you throw, like, this mean sidewinder and just whoosh, kind of cause the ball to, like, curve out and spin in. And the guy swings, and he misses. Strike two! Throws the ball back to you. And you catch it. And what would you like to do with the third one?
Well, let's go for a fastball.
All right.
See what happens.
Straight over the plate. Whoosh! It passes right by him. He swings as hard as he can, and he misses. Catches it, and the umpire says, strike three, you're out. That's 2 outs so far on the top of the first inning, right? Or is the bottom when it's... I'm not the baseball guy.
Bottom.
The bottom.
The bottom.
Bottom of the...
Well, that was the bottom of the first, and now it's the top of the second. Yeah.
Yeah.
As we're walking off the field, I'll turn to the gnome and say, "Who let cat throw ball first? Dumb idea."
The gnome got carried off the field on a stretcher with guards going after him.
No. It's like he's talking to Bill. It's the same thing. You're his.
You're there.
You're his Bill. He's like,
There's no one around
to
me.
Victor.
I pass, I pass it.
Victor will hear you eventually.
I pass it over to you, Papa Vic. And that's how
Steve
that plays.
Pep.
There's actually There's actually one more out that needs to be acquired.
Yeah.
So you're not actually leaving the field, and you're pitching again. For simplicity's sake, we're just going to do. Are you just wanting to pitch it hard and over the plate, just like you did, or like with a little bit of? You're trying to strike him out. You're not trying to kill him.
Yeah, just keep throwing curveballs.
Yeah. Surprisingly enough, she's a natural, and she throws it right across the plate, and each time, and strikes are called, and you basically strike them out. 2 strikeouts, pretty good, and they do switch the field. You guys are walked back in, and the order is completely screwed up, but it still kind of falls easily enough for you guys, and surprisingly enough, for consistency's sake, because forget that. For simplicity's sake, forget consistency. That shit's out the window. Next up would be the cat again.
He
I'm not
left.
finding meat tubes.
Oh,
People
shit.
left are me and Kung Fu.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I literally just like walked
Sorry,
up.
man.
It's you. It's you then.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and do the same thing. I'm just trying to make contact. I ain't trying to kill it.
Okay. Swing and a miss on the first one. With the second one, you're gonna go same thing, just trying to get a piece
Same
of it.
deal. I'm just trying to get on the base.
All right.
Wait.
Do me a favor and pick high or low.
Low.
Okay. So as you're swinging, you kind of like catch a piece of it, but it hits like right in the middle point, like where the bat is kind of like starts to thin out into a handle, and it hits it with enough force that it causes the bat to break and splinter. You see a couple of splinters kind of fly off, and you kind of like duck underneath it, now holding this handle, but you hear this thunk. Ah! And when you turn and look back behind you, it looks like a piece of your bat has impaled one of your players on your team.
Oh, the clerics really should have packed some more healing.
The clerics like walk out and they just are shaking their heads. and a couple of guards throw the body onto a stretcher, pull the thing out, and try and staunch the bleeding. It does seem like the person's still moving, and you can hear him. But they get him off the field.
Bring out your dead.
You hear the announcer
Not
say,
dead yet.
"At this point, it seems like it's just a competition to eliminate the other team first. Rules are out the window, it seems, or the Fates are having it that all these people are supposed to be dead. All right, let's pass that over to you, Bill."
I would also like to say,
I guess you're throwing another ball. Let's do this thing.
All right. They get you a new bat, and the pitcher kind of comes out there with the ball, kind of like gets wind up, and he throws it, and you're swinging it. Do you have any intent?
Yeah, just trying to make contact.
All right, you get a piece of it. Yeah, you get a piece of it, and it goes pretty far out. But since most of their outfield has pretty much been decimated, it hits out in the middle of the field, and it looks like the shortstop's like hoofing it to try and get there, just beating feet. You dart for first base, and once you get there, it doesn't look like the ball's returned on incoming.
Yeah, I want to kick it up a notch. I can go pretty fast. I can probably make it to third easily.
Yeah. Okay, so if you're
If
pumping,
not further.
are you pumping key into it with Stephanie?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. By the time you get to third base, it looks like the ball is being thrown at this point back into the field, and you are perceptive enough to realize that it's being thrown towards third base, not home.
And I'm already at third base.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm going home.
All right. In a bit of surprise, and you kind of hear the announcer just like, oh, being really excited about it, as a baseball announcer would, and I'm not going to try it because I would fail at it. But the ball's coming in, and you're kind of halfway through by the time it gets to him. But when he goes to catch it, he commits an error, I believe it's called, and the ball kind of pops out of his glove and kind of bounces away. He runs over and gets a hold of it and throws it, but by the time he's done so, you've already crossed over the base. It's now 6-0. At that point, the announcer's kind of, yelling out over the field. The other coach kind of walks out into the field, and he's kind of just waving this white piece of cloth.
and that's when Blaze comes out of nowhere and stat. No.
It looks like the Dreams are conceding the contest today, which makes a lot of people mad because this has been all in about a span of about a half an hour, maybe an hour. And that's not a full game. We didn't even get through a full inning. Well, we did. We got through one full inning, and that's it. All right, well, a lot of people are probably going to ask for their money back. But
They're alive.
I guess I'll just shoot over a word for our sponsors. The Orcish Pie, a delicious and wonderful treat that can be bought just south of Greyport. Passing it back over to you, Bill. At that point, you guys see the decimation, realize that you've won the contest, but the guy who basically runs the team has been wounded quite heavily. When you get back to the locker room, half of the locker room has been turned into a makeshift clinic. And one of the two clerics that were on the field, because they didn't think they would ever need this many, is basically over there, and it looks like a freaking triage unit. Like, it's just there's blood from the guy who got stabbed in the neck. There's several people who are just kind of like, they've got a bunch of stuffing around their face from where they got hit in the face with a bat. There was a gnome there, just kind of, if you do me a kindness and just try and make a good muttering of an unconscious gnome, that'd be swell. I'd imagine he'd be saying words.
Who daddy?
The guards kind of are standing near him, and the nurse is kind of, cleric rather, is kind of not really a nurse, cleric. She is doing her best to kind of help all these people, and it looks like the gnome has been attached to his bed specifically. And seems to have wound down. What would you guys like to do? The Tabaxi isn't anywhere to be seen, but your presumption is he went to go get more snacks.
Time to rescue the gnome.
How would you like to do it?
Kill everyone.
You're not here. Shush.
I don't think the cat would have said that. I think that was just Matt.
John's right.
Good question. So like we're back in the locker room that we started in, right?
That's right.
Okay, so that means like our gear is in there.
That's correct.
Hold on, I forgot what
Are
I
we
have.
doing this? We killing everyone? Like, where are you going with this?
Yes. The answer is yes.
We jumped right to get. All right, let's do this thing. I got
No,
this.
no,
I'm pretty sure by this point Victor's caught up. He's just now like slowly walking into the locker room, pissed off, and finally like, God damn, it took me the whole goddamn
And then
game.
he starts just like huffing and huffing and huffing and like shuffling his foot. And then you're like, yeah, let's fight these guys. He moves 20 feet and barrels over one of the guards and just kills them. No. You don't know where the turtle is, actually. You have no idea where the turtle is located.
You guys.
Turtle murder.
Maybe we should find the turtle first.
You do not know where the turtle is located. In the heat of everything and kind of being ushered back into the locker, you basically know where Popovic is, and he is currently. It looks like he is handcuffed to the bed that he's on, and there are two guards that are standing over him.
My initial thing was like I was looking for some way to stealthily like remove him from the bed.
Sure. It would seem that you would have to remove the bed.
Take the bed.
The bed appears to
Kill
just,
them all.
and just so you know, the bed appears to be just the stretcher that they used, and it's kind of set on these two kind of stands that kind of turn it into a cot.
Okay, what was it? Lad? Is that your name? No, Master Crumb. Let's just like grab our stuff and grab him. Bucket.
Okay.
Don't you have a better plan? I mean, we could easily carry the stretcher.
No, we won baseball game.
Okay.
Do you guys just walk over, grab him, and take him away?
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, what are you doing?
I approve of this strategy.
Do you guys answer the guard or just keep going?
No, we're taking Gnome away.
Keep
Clearly.
going.
Oh,
Like if the
Daddy,
guard
oh,
reaches to
Daddy,
stop
oh,
us, I think
Daddy.
just like hit him with a bat.
You just grab a bat and smash the guard with it?
Please do this. Please do this.
As you kind of swing the bat at him, he pulls out his sword and kind of catches it, like blocks it, like very quickly, very deftly. But the sad part is now that the sword has caught the bat is attached to the sword, and it's almost like partitioning this bat in half, but it's stuck on there. Basically, you've wedged the bat onto this short sword, and he kind of like waggles it. Do you want to try and hold on to the bat and thereby keep him in effectively a grapple, or do you want to relinquish the bat and allow him to deal with his weird sword now?
Let's grapple.
Okay. You are able to actually wrest his sword out of his hand. Now you have a bat with a sword in it.
Can I? There's two guards, right?
Yeah, the other guard doesn't seem to know what's happening. It's all happening pretty quick.
Oh, okay. Then just like hit the other guard with the bat attached to his sword, like but hit him strategically just with the bat, not trying to hurt him, other than knock him out.
You're gonna miss.
Probably.
Hold on. The guy that you're attacking, the one
Yeah.
that's close to you mean? You're hitting him with the bat, right? The one that...
Yeah, the guy that I was already talking to, that guy that I took his sword from.
Okay. You hit
Trying
him
to knock him out.
so hard,
Oh no.
he falls to the ground. Like, you got him. You knock him unconscious. But the force of the blow and the swing of it causes the short sword to be freed from the bat and fly across the room and stab the other guard, who now has a short sword in his thigh and is freaking out and falling to the ground bleeding. You are you're holding your half of the cart or half of the thing with one hand, and now you have both hands free unless you keep the bat.
No, both hands. Like.
Okay, and you guys can hoof it out the door.
Yeah.
Okay. As you're running,
Just shaking my head the whole time.
it doesn't appear like anybody seems to be paying attention or focusing in on you. The guards do kind of appear to be kind of in one specific area near where you guys are located, but it doesn't take much effort to get around them. On your way out of the area, kind of moving just further north, you see the tabaxi kind of sitting there. How many would you have got? I mean, would you have stole a bunch of them, like more of the tube meats, or would you have like tried to buy them fresh?
What is buying them? That is crazy talk.
Okay, so you have about 10 that you've managed to filch, and you're just sitting there at a table like you didn't even know this is wrong. But you guys see that Plays with Mice is now playing with hot dogs.
They are so delicious. I just want to stick.
I think we should just grab them grab some as we go by, so that he will follow.
So the gnome doesn't exactly
Just pile them on the gnome.
The gnome doesn't exactly fill out the entirety of the stretcher that you have, so it would be absolutely possible for you to take the hot dogs and put them onto the stretcher and continue moving out the way.
Yes, that's exactly what we should do.
You now have a gnome and a pile of hot dogs, and I presume a cat chasing after you as you exit away from the stickball field. And,
Two team stickball.
and
Yeah,
with,
2 team stickball.
with that, we'll close out the session. I'll go ahead and go ahead and be 5th level for whenever we eventually get to the next one. But good time. A lot better than the boring keys, I would say. I'll go ahead and stop the stream.
Well, wait a minute. We killed a lot of people in that one. Oh.
Yeah, we did kill a lot of people.
This one wasn't. This one wasn't intentional, but when,
It's true.
when he said I'm gonna go full strength on him, I was like, all right, well let's see what we do. Natural 20, sneak attack damage. Okay, so the bat does a d6, which is doubled, and the sneak attack is doubled. So that's what 4, 8. What is that? 66 plus his death. Okay. Oh, that's all 6s. And then, as a joke, I was like, okay, I gotta do a baseball guy trying to fight the pitcher, so I'm gonna have him try and throw the bat at him. But he said, I want to throw it as close as possible to the guy as I can. And I was like, all right, well, let's go ahead and see how that works out. And so I rolled, and it hit his armor class, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna allow that. And then when he threw it, my guy, he rolled a natural 20, but because he was lobbing it, he wasn't really. I wanted it to be like a missile attack. I made the dexterity saving throw if he wanted to dodge, or if he wanted to do something else, he could do it just for flavor. And then we saw the smart choice of that from the cat. We saw the not so smart choice of that from the gnome. All right, I'm gonna stop the stream now.